CHGO White Sox postgame show presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Welcome into our CHGO studios here in the West Loop. Alongside me today to recap this 5-1 loss for the Chicago White Sox against the Seattle Mariners is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He is the CHGO White Sox community leader. I'm Sean Anderson, the host of the CHGO White Sox podcast. We're being produced today by our boy, Steven Nicholas. We got some people rolling in here on the YouTube chat. If you haven't subscribed to our CHGO Sports YouTube channel just yet, we really urge you to do so. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit those notifications when we go live, because you want to be in here, even if it's a 5-1 loss, even if it's a 6-4 victory like it was last night. The Sox take 2 of 3 against the Mariners. We'll recap the game today. We'll recap the entire series, and we'll preview the weekend series against the Rays. That's what's coming up on this show. And, Connor's got, our guy Connor from Toronto's got some payback on the pregame today. He said, I said Leury would be good today, but I'm sorry, guys. He's bad. And we'll talk about Leury Garcia and his poor performance today in this 5-1 loss against the Mariners.
Hello, Zach.
And, yeah, hey, what's up, Zach Byrne? Our guy, Zach Byrne. Let's jump through the runs here, because 5-1, Mariners scored 5, White Sox scored 1. Top of the second, Jarred Kelenic takes a pitch into right field, hits off the foul pole, and makes it 2-0 White Sox.
I like to call it the fair pole.
The fair pole?
Because if you hit it, it's fair.
That's true. The fair pole, then. Kelenic hits the fair pole, 2-0 Seattle. That's the only runs Jimmy Lambert gave up today. We'll go to the pitching lines here. Jimmy Lambert had a fairly good day for the Sox. Pretty surprising. He goes 3 innings, 2 earned runs, 1 K, 1 walk. Jimmy Lambert wasn't dominant, but I was surprised at how he performed.
Yeah, his changeup was working today. 3 innings and giving up only that home run to Kelenic. It's not ideal. I wanted 4, but giving me 3 with the situation that the White Sox find themselves in, it is fine. Jimmy Lambert did his job today. I will not pin the loss on him, even though Major League Baseball did.
Yeah, and I was looking, too. While they were down 2-0, it was probably around the 5th inning. The White Sox, it was 2-1, I'm sorry. It was 2-1. We'll get to how it got to 2-1, but it was 2-1 at one point. The White Sox plus 1.5 spread was like plus 105 or something like that. I took the even money on that because I thought that the White Sox could stay in this. They lost because they didn't hit today. I mean, that's the reason why the White Sox are in this position. Not because Jimmy Lambert had a bad day, not because the bullpen had a bad day, was because the White Sox didn't show up and hit. They did score a run in the 5th inning, and boy, was it a weird one. Adam Engel reached on a pop-up that went straight up in the air, and nobody caught it. It fell right by the catcher. It should have been a hit. They ruled it an error. You wanted it to be a hit. And then Jake Berger.
It's really hard catch to make for anybody, much less a catcher, much less in a 40-mile-per-hour gales.
And much less for the shortstop, as J.P. Crawford will find out in the next at-bat. Jake Berger also hits a sky-high pop-up that J.P. Crawford cannot field. Adam Engel scores. That's the only White Sox run right there. Pretty pathetic way to score your only run of the game just by the wind being your only benefactor.
I would usually say that, and we're going to get to the pitching stuff later, but Mariners got some. I mean, there's a reason why I have them as the AL West favorites and winning the AL West division. They got some arms, some serious arms.
Oh, the Mariners?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, Jesus. I mean,
just
their
dumb.
Their bullpen is honestly scary. And you look back at last year, how this team was very close to a playoff contender, and the reason that they didn't was because of their hitting. I mean, they had a negative run differential last year, and it was because of their pitching. Their pitching was dominant today. Logan Gilbert, their starter, was good, not great, but Andres Munoz had a fantastic game.
Never want to see him again.
Do not want to see him again.
Like 103 mile per hour fastball with an 89 mile per hour slider that just slightly, it's like rivals what we saw from Matt Brash the other day.
It's not as loopy. Matt Brash, big loop, and it would stay straight and then just dive off. But, I mean, this was such a tight spin slider that, I mean, Jose Abreu couldn't figure out. 3 pitches to Jose Abreu from Andres Munoz, 3 sliders, and the first one was in the zone, and the next 3 weren't even close. And I think if you asked Jose Abreu, what did that at bat look like? It probably looked like the same 3 slider back to back to back, and it just was more break after more break after more break.
Yeah, that is a thing they have there. That Munoz kid, Steckenrider. Like, think about, you saw Munoz come out, the first guy of the bullpen. He's not even their best reliever. Can you believe that? Like, their best reliever is the guy who came in last, Paul Sewald.
Right, and Steckenrider is a guy that had like 30 saves for them last year. He ended up being the closer after they traded away Graveman.
And then Diego Castillo, former closer in Tampa Bay. They just have embarrassment of riches back there in the bullpen. That team is going to be some troubles. I'm glad the White Sox came out of that with 2 out of 3 versus the Seattle Mariners.
Well, it's interesting to see teams like the Rays that are coming in and the Mariners work. You see the arms that they're throwing out there, and these aren't brand names, right? You don't know Paul Sewald, and the guy's like 30. You don't know Drew Streckenrider. That guy's older. Andres Munoz is younger, but even with
Castillo?
Castillo. I mean, Castillo was a cast-off from the Rays. Like, the way that they've been working is low release points. That's what they like. That's what Matt Brash gave you. He's 6'1", but was getting a lot of extension, and he had a low release point. It's something that Evan Roberts on the Cubs, he has a low release point. It helps you get a lot more sweep action on your slider, and I mean, they have, I mean, it seems like everyone in their bullpen has a disgusting slider. It's something that, you wish the White Sox would be able to incorporate, or something you see from the White Sox. You see, a lot of bullpen arms come up and have a little bit of success, but it's all for different reasons. Like Matt Foster had his changeup working at some times. Evan Marshall had a really good changeup too when he was healthy for the White Sox, but it really doesn't feel like the White Sox have a brand. Where you look at the Mariners, these guys have a brand. They have a pitcher that they're looking after. You talk about the process. This process is paying results for the Mariners.
Yeah, and they're probably not paying a lot of money for those guys as yet. No. Good to see my guy Matt Zawoski, Father Zoe in the chats, Pinwheels and IV podcast, him, K Fids and Aldo Soto doing a great job over there. Exactly right. Keep winning series, and everything will just be all right. I don't want to see those Seattle Mariners anymore. When they catch their stride, when Julio Rodriguez becomes the guy that he is supposed to be. We saw the home run later, and I know we were going to recap it. Jose Ruiz, when you were away from us a little bit, Jose Ruiz gave up a rocket shot to Mitch Haniger, which in the pregame I was like, oh, we've held that sumbitch down. He ain't nothing. Mitch Haniger, rocket.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't want to see them again. I know the White Sox got to go back out there to Seattle. Not fun. I hope somebody in the West beats them, because that is a team right there. That is
a team. The lineup, too, I think is just going to get better and better the more and more we get into this season. Jesse Winker is good. He hit 2 loud fly balls in this series that should have been extra base hits. Mitch Haniger had a good day today. Let's recap those final runs, because the White Sox did lose 5-1. It was 2-1 when we last left you, bottom of the 5th. Top 7, Cal Raleigh hit a home run, 364 feet. Adam Hogue called a bullpen shot for Adam Engel. Cal Raleigh ends up hitting the bullpen shot for the Mariners. He puts him up 3-1 in the 7th. And then the top of the 8th, like you mentioned, Jose Ruiz pitching to Mitch Haniger. First pitch right down the pipe. Mitch Haniger takes it 372 feet. Jesse Winker is scoring on that one. 5-1, Mariners lead. It was a boring game. It was a tough game. Not a lot of offense from the Sox. And, even when the Mariners were hitting, it wasn't really that exciting. Like, it wasn't a lot of boom, 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 action, action, action. It was pretty slow until the 7th, and then the Mariners just piled on.
Yeah, we don't really want to blame the White Sox for not hitting in the conditions that are out there and the pitchers that the Mariners are throwing out there. Sometimes when you have a matchup that Logan Gilbert versus Jimmy Lambert, you're going to lose. They had better players out there than the White Sox. I'm not going to blame the White Sox too tough for losing it to the Seattle Mariners. You're going to lose games, and that team is a quality team to lose to. Tip the cap, send them on their way, and please, Jesus, hope the Tampa Bay Rays don't have the same amount of pitching and hitting that they do, because that is a tough, none of those wins I felt good about. Like, I felt good that they actually won the game, but I never was like, Oh, we got these. These Mariners are garbage.
I felt good about yesterday's game. Yesterday's game felt pretty damn good.
Well, it was cold, so I couldn't feel good about it.
Well, that's fair. You didn't feel anything.
Then I got sick.
Yes, you didn't feel anything at yesterday's game. But going up against the reigning AL Cy Young that had that much success against you last year, and you being that patient and being that dominant against him, tagging him for 6 runs in 7 innings, I really did feel good about this one. But, this game today, brutal performance. You look at the pitching line for the Mariners, 9 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk allowed, 9 Ks. This is easily the worst offensive output performance from the White Sox. Maybe it's just a bad day. You don't even have that great of a lineup in there. Leury Garcia has been horrible at the plate and continues to be horrible. Fred says, and Leury hasn't reached base all year yet. Can I get Romy Gonzalez call up in some at-bats? Well, they just extended Leury Garcia for 3 more years.
I don't have a problem necessarily with Leury playing especially because Josh Harrison was out with an injury. I have a problem with Leury batting where he bats, and I've said that in the pregame. He's going to play. He's going to be a guy who plays more than he sits out, because if you look at the playoffs, the last 7 games the White Sox have played in the playoffs, he started 6 of them. He's not a traditional utility guy. He plays. He starts. I know that he's not this. He's not this bad of a player. I think things keep on piling on. He hasn't got a hit, so he's probably pressing in the field. He's not doing the right things. At least on that ball where he botched it and only did one hand on the ball in the air. Wind was blowing, but still, that ball was in his glove. Should have secured it with 2 hands. He ran, hustled to the ball, threw Mitch Haniger out at second base. I will not pile on the guy. I feel that he's a good cat, but he's just overplayed. And that's not his fault. They put him in the lineup. He's going to play.
Yeah, but when you're put in the lineup, you have to produce in some way. You have to be reliable defensively. You have to be reliable on the base paths. You have to be reliable with the bat. He's not reliable with the bat right now. He had 4 at-bats today. He saw 12 pitches in those at-bats. That's 3 pitches in at-bat. He's not working counts. He's not being aggressive. He's not making good contact. And we see in the field today a couple errors. Or not errors, but misplayed balls.
I take exception with the one we saw that he hit a liner to J.P. Crawford. He hit that pretty solidly. So process over results. If that is where he's going, if he's getting his swing and his stroke together, and sometimes balls just land in people's gloves, let's keep it right there, Leury. I'm not going to be totally down on the guy. I just don't want them to play him as much as they do, because it just seems like you get played, you get overexposed, and then you become this guy with no hits so far, and you press in the field, and so you're not as good of a utility player as you can be because you're pressing all the time, and now you're like, oh, God, I got no hits, I'm making errors, and they're not going to play me. Now they're going to play Danny Mendick. Now they're going to call up Romy Gonzalez, and when Josh Harrison comes back, I'm not going to see any time. So, yeah, I want the kid to stay. I know he's like 30. I'm 43, so I can still call him a kid.
Like 11 years.
I just want him to stay where he's at. That solid contact he had, and I think it was the second last or last at bat where J.P. Crawford just happened to have it. Stay right there. Yeah, and you'll get those hits. Some of those knocks will happen.
Here's the thing, too. Like other Sean saying, maybe Cesar's option for 1 year and no contract for Leury would have been a better option. Time will tell. I disagree on that just because the White Sox, this was their play. This was the first move they made last year. We've talked about this in the offseason. Vinny always mentioned that when the White Sox know what they want to do, they're going to go out and do it right away. And that first move that they went was go extend Leury Garcia. They want Leury Garcia to be playing, and they want Leury Garcia because he can play outfield, because he can play second, because he plays shortstop, because he can play third base. You don't know if Romy Gonzalez can play right field or left field like Leury can. You don't know if you call up Yolbert Sanchez, if he's going to be able to patrol center field or right field or left field. He has a unique ability to play around the diamond. The issue is he's just average to below average at all of those positions. He is not a guy that you can step in, and he's not even great at one certain thing. Like he's good at shortstop. He's got a decent arm, but really he doesn't excel at any position defensively or with the bat. I really, he had a great year last year, but it really feels like that's the best we saw of Leury Garcia was in 2021. I don't think we're going to see a repeat performance in 2022.
Yeah.
But also, like, you talk about the hits today, like, he did have an expected batting average on that one line out to Crawford in the 7th inning of 620.
Yeah.
But that ball was hit 78 miles per hour. The hardest ball he hit today was 92.9. He is not squaring the ball up. He's not being able to, he's not driving the ball. Like, I mean, this is just weak contact, and bad plate appearances that just end too early. I mean, you if you're going to make this week of contact, at least make them work. Make it a 10-pitch at-bat. Foul off pitches. Make sure that this pitcher is laboring out there. 3 pitches in at-bat with this result, 0 for 17, brutal. And 3 errors so far on the season.
Like anybody, he's pressing. He's pressing to get a hit. He's like, I don't want the pitcher to get an 0-2 count because probably he feels that way every time he goes up the bat, even though he's swinging at the first or second pitch. When you're struggling like this, you just need something to fall in. Just like a basketball player who's 0 for 10 shooting 3-pointers, you just need to see one go in. And that's what Leury needs to get. I thought that soft hit that he had, maybe he can beat that one out to end the game. Didn't happen. And that's what he needs. He needs to just get on base, relax. You'll see him smiling at first base. His teammates will be like, get the ball. Yeah, like it's his first hit in major leagues. You know, just jovial, everybody having a good time. I tell you what, he will be fine. I am not his biggest fan. You guys know that. But I know that Leury will be a nice utility player if they play him in the right role instead of starting him 4 of the first 7 games, right? Or 4 of the first 6 games.
Before the first 6. I don't know if he... Did he start? Well, he started. Yeah, but that was because of Tim's suspension too.
Yeah,
so I mean,
still.
yeah, I know that's true. I mean, he has started 4 games. I totally forgot about the TA suspension. So yeah, he started those first 2 games, and then I think he started. Was it the home opener?
Yeah, he started all 3 in the series versus the Mariners.
He started all 3 against the Mariners.
Or was
he played yesterday? He got pinch hit for Eloy.
He didn't start. He
so 4
though.
starts on the season for Leury so far. 2 in Detroit. And then 2 against the Mariners. Again, they just don't have the options. You know, maybe Harrison plays today at second base if he's feeling all right with his back. I would love to see Harrison back in the lineup tomorrow. I would love to see Jake Berger still get opportunities over Leury. But like Fred says, I'm obviously not his biggest fan, but he wasn't the reason they lost today. That's absolutely true. 4 hits is why they didn't. And Leury contributed to that, but, you know, no one was hitting for the White Sox today. You lose 5-1. You look overpowered by this Mariners bullpen. It's fine in the grand scheme of things because, like Zoe said, as long as you're winning series, that's all that matters. But still, a very difficult, really, game. I mean, this is the worst game we've seen for the White Sox so far. Bad lineup. You know, just got to brush it off and go to the next series against the Rays. It is still, you know, it felt very 2020, very 2021 White Sox where, you know, you have great game, and then you completely just shut down.
Yeah, and I'm not going to, I say every game counts the same. This game, you're going to lose. These are the games that you're going to lose. Like the old Hawk adage, you're going to lose 60, you're going to win 60 is what you do with the other ones. This is one of the games that you're going to lose no matter what.
That's fair.
So, resign, throw my hands up. It's not like they didn't give effort. It's just a better team out there today.
It's just when you get the performance that you did from Jimmy Lambert, you're in the 5th inning and you're down 2-1. Even going into the 7th, you're down 2-1. Like, you need to have more of a fight. You need to start working these counts. You only have 1 walk. I really wish we saw a little bit more fight offensively from the Sox. But like you said, you'll win 60, you'll lose 60. It's what you do about the other ones. Hey, we got Vinnie Duber joining us in the bubble. You can follow him at Vinnie Duber on Twitter. He's the CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's joining us from Guaranteed Rate Field. How's it going, Vinnie?
It's going good, guys. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Pretty rough game, to be honest with you. We saw 3 games against the Mariners today. This was the one that bored us the most. I don't know how you felt today. You liked the wind today? Was that entertaining for you?
Yeah, you know, that provided, a few minutes of fun there. I think Tony La Russa called it fun for the fans because of all the funny stuff that was going on out there. And so, yeah, you got to do the little whole, you play the little yakety sax theme, the Benny Hill theme up there when all the goofy stuff's happening and balls are dropping in there. But other than that, not too many headlines coming out of this one.
You know what yakety sax is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Making
sure you're young.
Yeah, I got you.
Vinny, as I always ask you, what is the shirt you're wearing today?
I mean, the one you're seeing is a sweatshirt. You'll see that quite a bit. Just says Chicago, Illinois on it. But I do have Rush on under this, and fitting because Jimmy Lambert walked out to Tom Sawyer before the game. So, catch the mist, catch the mystery, that whole bit.
Was Jimmy Lambert always coming up to Rush? It's a pretty badass song to pick.
Yeah, I don't know if he always was or not. It does sound a little familiar now that you mention it, but was happy to hear it today. And they did the national anthem real early for some reason, so there was 12 minutes between the end of the national anthem and first pitch, so we got to hear every second of Tom Sawyer.
Was Bruce Miles up there, and was he rocking? I know he's retired now because that's his group.
He's like, I think, he's like, you remember on 30 Rock when Al Gore, would interrupt and go, "Oh, quiet, there's a whale that needs me," kind of thing. I think Bruce, wherever he is, whatever in the middle of, he's like, "Tom Sawyer's playing. Everybody hold on."
And everybody hold on, because we really have to mention, you joined us at the right time, Vinny, because we have to mention the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO Locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO Locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we will help you out. PointsBet is your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's newest feature, the live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live NBA same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game, and if you want more, you can boost your live same-game parlays with PointsBet. That's my favorite feature of the PointsBet app, boosting my odds and winning more money. You can watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet, and now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Vinny, thank you for bearing with me on that one. Who'd you talk to after the game? I'm assuming you talked to Coach Tony here, but anyone else you chatted up with?
Yeah, it was a brief post-game session, as you might imagine. Jimmy Lambert had a little bit to say, as did Tim Anderson, but Jake Berger as well. But really, like I said, there's not too many headlines coming out of this one. I think it's kind of those overarching things that we've been talking about the whole season so far. The thing that really stands out to me when you think about it, another 5 bullpen pitchers needed in this one. 6 innings of relief. They got kind of what they wanted out of Jimmy Lambert. I guess 3 innings is better than the alternative of 2 or fewer. But I think Tony La Russa said even, he would have, there was a point where he thought he might be able to get through 4. Not so today. So we're continuing to see this shortened spring training, the effects thereof. The White Sox down 2 of their top starting pitchers. And Jimmy Lambert even said to me, that he's still building up. So not only is he being pressed into duty for the injured Lucas Giolito, he's being pressed into duty when he's not even ready to assume what he considers his full complement of innings and pitches. So, this is a work in progress. The good news, every team in baseball is going through it, but the White Sox have a big challenge on their hands, and they keep using bullpen pitchers. They got to get a break at some point here, but it might not come for a little while.
You're right that Lambert, there isn't a big headline here. Obviously, 5 pitchers used, but I really liked what we saw from Lambert. And Lambert, now in this last 3 outings, 11 innings pitched, only 3 earned runs. Did he talk about kind of getting more comfortable or feeling comfortable up on that mound? Because it feels like, he's done this in 2020 now. He's done this in 2021. It probably feels like that those lights are getting less brighter for him. It feels like he's probably feeling a little bit more comfortable. Did he talk about any comfort level on the mound today?
Well, he's one of those guys that holds himself to a high standard, obviously, so he wasn't pleased with the home run, but particularly the walk ahead of the home run. Tony La Russa, I asked him, did Lambert show you enough to be considered the guy that's filling in for Giolito kind of here on out? And he kind of looked at me and was like, man, give me a few days here. Let's get through the next few days before we start plotting out the pitching rotation for the rest of the month here or something like that. But he said likely the chance will be there for Lambert. And I think they were pleased with what they saw today and what they have seen for the last few years. Tony La Russa said, he can pitch in the major leagues. He's got the stuff to do it. So I'm not sure the White Sox are in a good spot necessarily, but we'll say that, that depth that they talked about, obviously it's already being tested. It's been okay for them so far here, and obviously it's just been one turn or one turn in one game through the rotation here, so there's a lot more to go, but you can't complain when you've won 2/3 of the game so far.
I know Tony wasn't waving the white flag by putting the pitchers he put out there today, but it seemed like he wasn't going to play any of his top relievers today. Is there anything he said today that, like, okay, Liam pitched hard last night, Kendall's pitched a couple times, I'm going to stay away from those guys? Because the pitchers he put in, they're not their top relievers out there, even though Bennett Sousa had no ERA before he got into today's game, but it just seemed like they were like, all right, we're just going to, take this loss and then go on to the next series.
Well, if you're talking about a guy like Liam or a guy like Kendall, I mean, they pitched in the last 2 games. Kendall Graveman pitched in 4 of the first 5 games they played here. Liam pitched in 3 of the first 5. And those guys are, it's situation, right? I mean, I think everybody kind of, if you're not in that manager's chair, everybody kind of thinks that it's like a video game, right? Okay, it's the 7th inning. My starter can't go anymore. I'm going to throw my 7th inning guy, regardless of what the score is or if it's close, right? And I think the situations are a little different. I mean, you saw this is the first time really that they've been losing when they needed to go to their bullpen. And so that's going to present a different situation than if they're trying to protect a lead. Maybe that's, I wouldn't consider that a hard and fast rule or anything like that, but it's just a new situation that we've seen here in the first 6 games. I don't think you're going to see Liam Hendriks when the team is down 4 runs. You know what I mean? Like he's here to nail down wins. I don't think you're going to see him out there just to keep it as close as it is at the time kind of thing. It is not at all waving the white flag. And you got to remember, too, the guys are on the roster because the team is confident in doing it. It's not like these guys have roster spots because it's like, oh, well, we have our closer, we have our setup man. Who is our bad reliever that we bring in when the game is out of reach? You know what I mean? Like, that's not a job description, even if it is a way that guys tend to get used sometimes. They have confidence in all these guys to put them out there in many different situations. So the reason you didn't see Liam Hendriks and Kendall Graveman probably has a lot to do with workload, but it has even more perhaps to do with the situation they face today.
Yeah, and you mentioned the bullpen, taxing that bullpen. Tomorrow's going to be a big start for Dylan Cease. Any expectations set for what possibly might be expected for Cease? I'm expecting 6 innings, possibly 7. It feels like they want to get as much length as possible just with the way they've used the bullpen and the lack of length they've gotten from starters. Any word on what Cease's pitch count or maybe the inning goal for him tomorrow might be?
I would expect it to be higher. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you look at the way that guys treat spring training, teams treat spring training, and it's like, all right, so in start 1, they're going to throw this many pitches, and then it goes up, and then it goes up, and then it goes up, and to the end of the spring where you want to be able to throw 100. Obviously, that wasn't possible this year with the way spring training was set up, and Dylan Cease specifically was just a tad bit behind guys like Lance Lynn, Lucas Giolito, and Dallas Keuchel when it came to getting revved up for the season. So you can still kind of look at the early going here as that similar kind of ramp-up period that we usually see in spring training. And so, yeah, I would expect it to be higher. I would expect him to be able to throw a lot more pitches or the next step, the next level of pitches to what he did in Detroit when he became the first guy and so far one of just 2 to be able to complete 5 innings this year for the White Sox. So I think just something like 6 innings would be a reasonable expectation, but also, as you mentioned, much, much needed with the way the bullpen has had to be used here in the first 6 games.
White Sox fans, and I'm guilty of that too, pile on Leury Garcia, and he started off the season, 0 for 17, Steven. I'm thinking that he's not this bad of a player that he's showing. I think he's just pressing because he started off with an 0 for so far. What type of guy is Leury, and do you think that what he's doing on the field and at the plate is just more of a pressing instead of him being like not good right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think this happens to a lot of players, and I think you can even point to somebody like Jose Abreu, who's going through, maybe not the greatest stretch of offense that he's ever had in his career right now, particularly since they've gotten back from Detroit. But you asked me what kind of guy Leury Garcia is. I mean, here's the thing that I always, think about when I think about, when fans get real mad at a guy for not producing, maybe think, you match that up with the personality and you're like, wow, this is a guy that fans should just absolutely love. He's a guy that constantly has a smile on his face. Everybody knows about the do-it-all attitude and the do-it-all skill set that he has in his toolbox, being able to play all over the field, come in the middle of games, move around on the positions, what have you. That's the kind of thing that I always think should really win fans over. And you've seen it with so many times over and over again with so many different players where those are qualities that are so valued by a fan base. Leury Garcia gets a lot of flack for not being the guy that he's filling in for. You know what I mean? I always think about the great quote from The Office, when they do the Secret Santa thing and Michael Scott gives out the iPod and he ends up with Dwight's gift and he goes, this is not better than an iPod. And Dwight goes, I never said it was better than an iPod. And that's kind of the thing that you've got to think about with Leury Garcia sometimes. They believe in him and they trusted him to do whatever. But guys, he's not Tim Anderson. He's not Yohan Moncada. He doesn't have that same skill set. The skill set he does have is very valuable. And I think when you talk about the personality of the guy, that's when you're getting into a guy that fans should really respect and really be fans of, because there's a reason he's still on this team. There's a reason he's still in the clubhouse, and that's because he's a very beloved guy in that clubhouse. When he hit that home run last year against the Red Sox, it was just the Leury love fest after the show. Like after the game, every player you would ask about him was like, yeah, we love this guy. This guy's amazing. Why haven't you asked me about him before? So this is someone who is going to keep filling in that role. Yes, the production is not there yet, but I would not start to expect to see him benched or anything like that. He is an integral part of this team, and he's been around long enough where that's going to come around. And well, I think you're just looking at a bad stretch right now. Obviously.
And it seems like that's the good point of having a great clubhouse like the Sox do. Is this is Leury legend. This is the long tenured player for the Sox. If anyone can be picked up by this clubhouse, hopefully it will be Leury. So maybe just. It's a rough start, 6 games. We'll see if he snaps back. You mentioned Jose, though. He gets the DH role today. He's hitting the ball hard. Not a lot of results yet, but hitting the ball really, really hard. Playing DH today, though, I thought the plan was for Grandal to catch. Any news from Tony pregame on why Reese ended up catching, Grandal gets the day off, and Abreu at DH?
You watched it. You sat in it, the two of you. That's the reason. Last night, that was some miserable conditions to have to sit and watch a baseball game. It was miserable conditions to have to play in a baseball game, even more miserable to have to catch in a baseball game. And so that's what Tony explained today. Cool. Reese McGuire in there just to get Yasmani Grandal off his feet. But one thing that's very interesting to me is that Yasmani told us in Detroit that he was asked a question about, do you feel yourself or do you feel comfortable offensively yet? And he said, no, not really, because I didn't get the amount of reps that I usually get during the spring. And here we all thought that was going to be, the spring training was short. We know, we got it. But he said, no, when he was supposed to be in the batting cage or doing anything else, they were working on his knee. They were still working on his knee or working on him to make sure that he would be able to catch in the game or catch in live BP or catch wherever he would need to catch. Turns out, we asked Tony about it today, it's something that it's a daily process. The White Sox are going to continue to work on that knee and really everything when it comes to Yasmani. Tony said it was the intention is to make his career as long as possible and make sure that he's out there and being able to still catch, because obviously everybody knows what an effective player he is, specifically at the plate, but also with what he does with working with the pitching staff. So Grandal, is a guy. He's a catcher, and he's not going to be in there every day. Yes, the DH spot is available, so they can keep his bat in the lineup as much as possible. But when it comes to having the day off today, a result of last night and how awful that was to have to sit through that game or crouch through that game, I should say.
Vinny, I know that Tony doesn't feel good after a loss, but as the recently departed Meatloaf has said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, and they beat 2 out of 3 versus Detroit, 2 out of 3 versus the Seattle Mariners. How do they feel after the game, taking those 2 series and feeling going forward towards the Rays series, another tough team they got to play this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's so funny how baseball is this complete dichotomy between, oh my God, today, we got to focus on winning today. What's going to happen today? And then it's, oh yeah, it's 1 of 162. You know what I mean? It's such a marathon. And so you're right. Nobody was happy about the way the game played out today in that White Sox clubhouse. But whether it was Tony or Tim Anderson, it was, pretty good positive being able to win the first 2 series of the season. I mean, listen, it's about winning series. And if they keep winning series, they're going to be one of the best teams in baseball. That's just how math works by the time you roll around to the end of this 6-month marathon. So, yes, you can count it as a very good positive for the White Sox. It's a good Mariners team. Herb, you and me both picked them to win the AL West this year. good Tigers team, as we saw in Detroit too, going to give the White Sox some fits probably throughout the season. That they were able to take 4 of those first 6 games is big. Tampa Bay always has a great team. They're always going to cause some problems for whoever they're playing. And so this is what turned out, with the way the schedule ended up being, a tough start for the White Sox. So they've answered the bell so far. They've been able to win some games so far. You throw the injuries on top of it, it's even more impressive. And this weekend, ain't no rest for the wicked out there, as they're going to keep at it against some really good teams.
And ain't no rest for Kevin Cash. He's got to deal with probably still a pissed-off Tim Anderson after the whole All-Star thing last year. TA's been fantastic this year. Another 2 hits from him. Won me money, which I'm always happy about. But Tim Anderson performing again, 2 hits, 2 for 4. What is his confidence level at? Because this is the hottest start that he's gotten off to. 2019, 2020, 2021. This is the hottest he's been since the Player of the Month back in 2019 in April. Do we think that, Tim Anderson's in this place where, nothing can faze him? Because it really feels like nothing can faze this guy right now.
Sean, you really asking me that question? You're asking me what Tim Anderson's confidence level is? Tim Anderson's confidence level is always 10 miles higher than you think it is. I mean, you're right. Nothing can faze this guy. This is the player, this is the person that he has developed into. And the way that his teammates always lay it out to me, Lucas Giolito told me this last year up in Milwaukee. He said, Tim Anderson can be summed up like this: I don't care if I struck out the last 10 times I faced you. I'm going to get a hit off you this time. I'm going to get a hit off you the next time. And really, there's a lot of guys in that clubhouse who could fit that description. But obviously, Tim Anderson is the face of this team. He's the guy that drives the bus from an attitude standpoint. Yeah, his confidence level is really, really high. But guess what? His confidence level would be the same whether he was off to the hottest start of his career or whether he was 0 like Leury is right now. So that's just the guy that he is, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing, because that confidence can translate into success on the field. You just look at him go up there every single at bat, and he goes, "All right, first pitch."
Right.
I'm going to dump it off in right field, and that's a hit, and I'm on base, and there's an RBI out there for the guys behind me. So that's the kind of player he is. Confidence level and Tim Anderson, heck, they might as well be synonyms.
Right. So he's always had the confidence. Maybe maturity level. Is there more of a maturity level to him this year? Because I'm just thinking, shortstop wasn't always the position he was there for. He was still always trying to learn to be a shortstop. We know that he really only picked up baseball until his junior year. We saw the 2019 where he put it all together, defense, base running, and hitting. Now this is his 4th year being a truly full-fledged shortstop. I wonder if there's maybe more maturity then for TA, or is he just the same TA as you have always noticed then? It feels like it is.
If you want to drive all the way back there, then sure. I mean, you know what I mean? The evolution of Tim Anderson has been incredibly impressive, but it's years in the making, and I think it reached its high point several years ago. You know what I mean? I think 2018, 2019 was when you saw, or 2019 specifically, was when you saw, it crescendo to the point where it still is. And so, yeah, TA has been the same guy for the last 3-4 years now, and that's one of the best players in baseball. And I think that it's only going to keep going because of how consistent this guy is. You talk about consistency. Jose Abreu is always applauded for the consistent approach he brings every single day, the hard work, he's the same beat every single day. Tim Anderson's the same way. He's just playing at a higher tempo, right? I mean, it's not that Jose Abreu has the work and he puts in the work and he's the model guy to go after. Tim Anderson does the exact same thing, but Tim Anderson adds that energy to it. He adds that spark to it that really is so essential to the White Sox. And it's essential to his game and his personality in general. So consistency, when you're talking about the same guy being there every single day, every single at bat, Jose Abreu, Tim Anderson, they're the same level of consistency. They just do it in a different way.
Last thing I got for you, Vinny, and thank you for joining us. Their Satanic Majesty's request. What year?
Oh, boy. That's it? That's the question?
That is it.
All right. Yeah. I would encourage if I was around in the mid to late 60s, I would have encouraged the Rolling Stones to go ahead and stick to the rock and roll. Let the Beatles do the whole, creative prog rock beginnings there. Let's go ahead and stick to the rock and roll. I think there's like one song on that album that I enjoy. That one I skip usually in the whole discography there. They went off in an interesting direction. More power to them. I'm glad they came back to earth a little bit there.
What year was that?
1966, 7.
Oh, you said it, 7.
Probably, right?
1967. You were there.
67. Yeah.
Damn, you were damn good.
I try, Herb. I try.
So what was their next album? Was it Exile?
Beggar's Banquet, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
68, right? Yeah.
Damn, boom. Perfect.
All right. Well, we know we got a guy. We got a ringer for Rolling Stones trivia and Vinny. So,
Yeah, right. If
we're all
you
good
find
on
one
that.
of those, in the city, then let's go ahead and do that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll bring KC out. We'll shoot a whole social media thing showing off your Rolling Stones trivia knowledge. Final question I have for you. It's White Sox related. Top 3 storylines heading out of this series into the Rays series. If you had to give me 3 headlines to no Sox fans after what we just saw after Seattle heading into this Tampa Bay series, what are the 3 big headlines Sox fans need to know?
Yeah, it remains that balance between the starting rotation and the bullpen. Is the bullpen going to hit a point in this very early stage where it's already overworked? Because if it does, then the White Sox are in trouble, and they really need some starting pitchers to step up if they're able. You know what I mean, from a physical standpoint. So Dylan Cease tomorrow is going to be a big deal, like you just said, because we had another series where only one guy was able to go 5 innings, and the bullpen. It's just a parade out of the bullpen. So that's still number 1 for me. I think you got to go Robert and TA and their little MVP thing that they got going on here. I mean, these guys are going to power this team, power this lineup, and they're right there at the top 1, 2. So that would be number 2 for me. And, I think the other thing is just can they get some of these guys back? Obviously, it's not, after just 6 games, time for a lot of these guys to come off the injured list necessarily. But even being without Eloy and being without Josh Harrison today obviously had its effect as the White Sox offense was pretty much silenced by Logan Gilbert. Can those guys put that behind them and not add to the list of injured White Sox? And will we see those 2 guys either tomorrow or Saturday?
Appreciate your work. They follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. His name is Vinnie Duber. He's a CHGO White Sox beat writer, and he will have a game recap up for this game. Vinny, enjoy the weekend, and we will talk to you on Sunday, all right?
All right, thanks, guys.
Oh, and also, I don't think we're going to be talking to him on Sunday. Go enjoy your vacation. I think that's what you should go do. Or is that next week?
That's next week.
That's next week. All right, I'm all thrown off. We'll talk to you sometime at some point, somewhere. Go enjoy a cocktail. How about that? That's probably something that we can agree on.
Great idea.
All right. Thank you, Vinny, for your time. Appreciate you joining us. You can check out his work at allchgo.com. If you are a member, you can read his articles right now. If you want to become a member, go to allchgo.com. We have premium written content there. If you become a member, you get a free shirt. We have the CHGO locker. We have dope merch for all of our Chicago teams that you can check out. And you get access into the CHGO lounge. It's a members only Discord. So if you want to read Vinny's fantastic work at allchgo.com, go to allchgo.com and become a member. You'll get the podcast, you'll get the pregame shows, you'll get the postgame shows, all for free. That's not for members, that's for everybody. But the premium written content, that's all for members. So allchgo.com, and if you become a member, you get one of those free shirts as well.
And Fred, he got it. It's up at the top up there, Steven. Fred got my meatloaf thing, and then, of course, he references a Danny Parkins miscue where he said that meatloaf was Louis Anderson. Shout out to the mob. Shout out to Danny Parkins, Matt Spiegel, yes, Shane Reardon, and, of course, our guy, Chris Tannehill.
Yes, and we love all those people, especially Tanny. And, we got some people that moved over with the score. Obviously, Fred's following us. Charlotte J's following us. Wilson's following us. Our guy, Wade Wilson, over there. I know that's not his real name, but that's the moniker he goes by. So good to see the mob in here. And we also got to mention, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. The pick of the week today was Tim Anderson, 2+ hits. Guess what? TA went 2 for 4.
Cash.
That's money in my pocket. We took Logan Gilbert under 5.5 strikeouts. Money in my pocket, right? Cash. So, we're taking picks of the week here. I think if you have to look for any picks this weekend for the Sox, for the Rays, I think tomorrow they might be a favorite. I think you should take the Sox money line. I think if the Sox are going to win any game for sure, if I had to put my money on any game this weekend for them to win, I think tomorrow is the day that they bounce back. They got their ace right now on the mound, their healthy ace, Dylan Cease. I'll roll with the Sox money line tomorrow, no matter what that line's at. I'll win some money on the boys in black tomorrow.
And Hector, yes, my energy is determined about the White Sox, Bears, Illinois football, and basketball's results. So I've been pissed for my whole life. It's been tough. It's been real tough. I chose poorly. It was a real dumb 12-year-old kid who chose the Illini and the White Sox and the Bears. I had no choice.
But did you choose poorly in the city? You know?
No, man. I tell you what,
right?
The city's undefeated. The city beautiful. Mercy.
Right. So, you know what? We might not have the best sports team. We might not have the most titles out of all these towns, but we do have the nicest Titlein town out there. So I do love our Chicago. Yes. Let's now preview a little bit of this matchup between the Rays. We got you going to games on Friday and Saturday. You'll enjoy the G-Rate. Go follow Herb on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. Go meet up with them this weekend.
All CHGO member Jimbo invited me out. I'm going to be sitting next to him in the 108. And then on Saturday, it's me and Chris Tannehill going to the game, courtesy of Shane Reardon. Thank you very much, Shane, for the tickets. So I'll be White Soxed out this whole week. Went to the game with you yesterday, courtesy of Pete Hand. Everybody, if you just want to give me tickets, I'll accept them. I'll accept them.
I will too.
We're not on the radio anymore. Payola and Plugola, let's do it.
Ayo, we take bribes here at CHGO. That's the new slogan. I don't think we have a CHGO slogan, so we take bribes is a good one. And I do like Jesus Shuttleworth's movie. Did love him in He's Got Game. But also, I liked his comment. The offense knows Lambert is starting and the bats go quiet.
Wouldn't that be the opposite? You like, hey, we know this guy's out here. We got to get some runs for this kid.
Well, that's what I thought they did for Dallas Keuchel yesterday. You know, Dallas, we got the Rocky veteran up here, Dallas Keuchel. Let's knock around Robbie Ray here for 6 runs. I think the main thing too is just unknown. You know, we really didn't see Munoz before. You didn't see him in this series before. You haven't seen Gilbert before. You haven't seen Sewald before. I'm pretty sure. The only person that you saw was Streckenrider.
Yeah, not in this series. No, I'm good. I'm good. Not seeing those guys ever again. Versus the White Sox, at least, some bitches are great.
Munoz kid.
Yeah, woo, friends. They just draft him, an international pick or something like that?
No, so in the Ty France trade, they got Ty France.
Goddamn
Munoz.
Padres are just giving up everything.
I think they got Matt Brash in that trade. They fleeced those Padres.
What the Padres get back?
Let's look it up.
Goddamn Padres. I mean, you're the team that liked to celebrate home runs last year, put on the home run chain, have a great time, then get pissed about bunting the other day when up by 7 runs or 8 runs or whatever it was. You just saw a Toronto Blue Jays team come back from 7 runs down. Just tell me when the game's over, Bob Melvin. Then they'll stop. I just hate these unwritten rules of baseball. If it happens to the White Sox, I'll be the same damn way. If Tony La Russa gets pissed at somebody bunting while the White Sox are down to 20, I don't give a goddamn. Get them out. There is no rule to get out. There's no clock in baseball. You can score 20 runs if you want to. I remember Ed Farmer famously said the White Sox are down 18. White Sox go to the bottom of the ninth, need 18 to tie. And damn it, that was right. They didn't get 18 to tie, though.
No, and I don't think we'll ever see a team put up 18 runs in the bottom of that.
Rest in peace, Ed Farmer.
But if we do, we will think very, very fondly of Ed Farmer. And I think fondly when I wear this hat, light him up.
Yeah, light him up. Yeah.
So there you go.
That's a nice hat. Yeah.
I got 47's my brand. I saw some people out at the tailgate with this hat on too. So I saw it on people's head, and I was like, glad I ordered that one. Like the way it looks in person. But yeah, so Munoz was signed as an international free agent by the Padres in 2015. He went under Tommy John surgery in March of 2020. So I guess that's why the Padres fell out of his favor here. But when he debuted back in 2019, his sinker was on average the fastest in the major league at 101 miles per hour. He finished in 22 games with 30 strikeouts in 23 innings back in 2019. Then was traded in 2020. Munoz France, Taylor Trammell, and Luis Torrens for Austin Nola, Dan Attavilla, and Austin Adams. So really,
I remember that trade, and I was like, they traded for Nola.
Yeah.
That's why they traded, because they had, at the time, I think, just the catcher.
Hedges?
Austin Hedges, who's now in Cleveland, and then the backup catcher who was
Francisco Mejia?
Yeah, Francisco Mejia. So
Who's
they
now
had
with the
those two
Rays.
guys, so it was really bad. but they gave up the farm. They gave up some people. What are you doing out there, A.J. Preller? Mercy. Like, you're throwing out Craig Stammen every day. 1,000-year-old Craig Stammen, and you got that?
Right.
You got that?
Munoz
and Brash? Oof.
And Brash was a player to be named later.
Yeah, and Ty France, I remember him on the Padres. I was like, he's no great shakes.
Right.
He went up to Seattle and had a great 2021.
Their best hitter right now, Ty France, was acquired in that trade. Looks like their future closer in Munoz was acquired in that trade. And Luis Torrens played 2 out of the 3 games for the Mariners, or started 2 out of the 3 games of the Mariners for the Sox. So that's one hell of a trade.
Was that Zarinzik, or was that the current Jerry DePoto was the general manager? Whoever it was.
DePoto made that trade.
They released the A.J. Preller-led San Diego Padres.
Yes, they did.
Which is my second favorite team, by the way.
So, you didn't really hate the
goddamn Friars
Fernando Tatis trade too much, because both teams benefited, right?
I didn't hate it at the time, not at all. I was like, who the hell is Fernando Tatis? And the White Sox get rid of Eric Johnson. Win-win.
Yeah, and James Shields worked out, right? We don't have to talk about that. Exactly. Let's preview the Rays series as the Rays come to town Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 7:10 on Friday, 2:10 on, 1:10 on Saturday, and then 1:10 on Sunday. As we said, Herb's going on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, Drew Rasmussen is taking the bump for the Rays. Dylan Cease is taking the bump for the Sox. On Saturday, Corey Kluber is taking the bump for the Rays.
Will pitch a couple innings.
And Michael Kopech is pitching for the Sox. TBD is pitching for the Rays on Sunday.
He's going to win.
And Vince Velasquez, Double V, is pitching for the Sox on Sunday. What you expecting in this Rays series?
Great pitching from the Rays. Bunch of relievers you never heard of that's going to strike the White Sox out. Just a battling series where the same thing, and I think people misconstrued my words, and I probably didn't say it correctly. I liked both of the victories the White Sox had over the Mariners, but I never felt like this is a comfortable victory. The Mariners are trash.
10-1 versus the Tigers on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing I'm feeling versus the Rays. It's going to be a slog. It's going to be tough to get hits versus these these Rays pitchers. We're not going to see explosive offense like we're used to, and games are going to be won close and tight. So it's going to be an exciting series out of the ballpark. I'm glad I'm going to 2 of these 3 games, and I'm glad they're missing, I think, McClanahan. Or who's their big-time starter?
Well, Shane McClanahan is their like stud, throws 98.
Yeah, I think
Shane Baz also was supposed to start, but he's got elbow inflammation, I think.
We're missing McClanahan.
Okay, so yeah.
Rue and Shane.
That's the big one. Also, Glasnow, who is their ace for the past couple of years, he's still dealing with Tommy John, so he's out. But you talked about the bullpen. They just find guys. They their whole thing with the Rays, they have a pitching factory down there. Last year, the White Sox had the second highest WAR for any bullpen. But they used, I think, about 15 pitchers. The Rays last year had the most WAR, and they used about 40 people in their bullpen. You don't know any of the names that are coming out of that bullpen, and all of them have at least one nasty breaking ball that the White Sox won't be able to hit. So it will be a difficult series. The big thing, though, is how Dylan Cease performs. We know Michael Kopech is very much a mixed bag here. Maybe he'll give you 5 innings, and the White Sox would love that. But Dylan Cease, we know that this kid is a 200 strikeout level kid. He can give you 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. As long as he's able to give you length tomorrow, that's the most important thing. And if he's giving you strikeouts along with it, the White Sox will be in that game.
As my guy Zoe says, Cy Cease on the bump on Friday. I'm excited to see him in person because he is a thing. He's a guy who's got confidence now, has the filthiest stuff on the staff, maybe one of the filthiest pitchers in Major League Baseball. I'm not worried about him. I think he's going to post tomorrow. I think he's going to throw 6 1/3 at least and give us the White Sox a chance to win that game tomorrow. So I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the 2 other pitchers. Michael Kopech, when he does pitch, pretty good. But I don't know how much length we're going to get out of him. And then Vince Velasquez, the same thing. Not good. He pitched well the other day, but I think that's coming back. It's not going to be the same on Sunday. I hope I'm wrong.
Yep.
Because Vince Velasquez, while he did give us a good effort the other day, that's not going to last. He's giving me Matt Latos vibes.
I will see. I mean, maybe the changeup's still working and Dallas Keuchel can still work some magic. You're talking about Dallas Keuchel here. You're talking about Vince Velasquez.
Vince Velasquez.
Okay, yeah. Vince Velasquez can definitely give me Matt Latos vibes. Chirizi wrote about Velasquez's performance, and it was not a rave review. A lot of fly ball outs, not a lot of ground balls. So if you're giving up fly balls to the Rays, the more and more you give up, the less and less your luck is going to get better. So Vince Velasquez might be giving up some home runs the warmer and warmer the weather gets here in Chicago. Last year, the Sox went 3-3 against the Rays. At home last year, they lost the first one, but then picked up 2 straight, won the last one on a walk-off, 8-7 on June 16th, and then they went to Tampa post All-Star break. They won the first one. That was the Tim Anderson game. He had a home run, and I think he had like 3 doubles.
I remember he hit that home run like in the 8th inning late, and then off a CHGO or something like that, and then eventually got the game winner too.
Right. So the TA had a revenge tour against Kevin Cash there, but after they won that one, 2 straight losses against the Rays. So 3-3 last year. If they're able to split with the Rays, I'd be happy. But if they go 4-2 this year against the Rays, 5-1, I'd be ecstatic.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's the Rays. I picked them as the AL East champion this year. Every year you look up, you hear about the Blue Jays, you hear about the Yankees and the Red Sox. But then at the end of the year, you're like, God damn, Rays are here again? Son of bitches. How'd they do it? And our guy Zoe says Wander Franco has Tim Anderson posters.
Right, and that's the thing. That's how they're going to start doing it from here on out is that kid, the $200 million 20-year-old Wander Franco. That's going to be the guy that we're going to have to watch out for this entire weekend. He's already got 11 hits. And also G-Man Choi, I think, has an OPS of 1,700 right now. So I think he has...
That's good. That plays.
Yeah. He has 16 hits. You want to know how many of our extra bases?
1.
9.
Damn,
He has 9 extra base hits on 16 hits, and he has like 5 walks to go with it. So G-Man Choi is raking right now. Wander Franco might be the best player in the league in a couple of years. And Randy Rosarina also has some pop. Mike
won the Rookie of the Year in his
pop.
4th year. It was good job, Randy Rosarina. And another, while we're continuing the A.J. Preller hate, Manuel Margot is now a player.
Is he?
Yeah. Manuel Margot is. They just signed him to an extension out there in Tampa Bay. His defense always played as a young prospect for the Boston Red Sox. Padres, he was pretty much middling, and they traded him immediately. I think they only traded him for like Emilio Pagan, who was terrible, and it was not a great trade. So
yeah, whenever the Rays are giving up bullpen guys, do not accept.
Yes.
There's probably something wrong with him. But yeah, that Margot was always one of those sneaky
Marwent.
What was that?
He Marwent. Marwent. It's the end of the show. Let's end it.
I don't get it.
Go Went.
Oh, he Marwent.
See what that did?
I
there?
got you. I thought it was like a Marwin Gonzalez joke,
okay,
and I was just that's on me. He did Marwent, but yeah, Margot was always like one of those sleeper fantasy guys, and now it's crazy that of course they're unlocking him. Francisco Mejia, who was a former Cleveland guy, former Padre guy, switch hitting catcher. It feels like they've unlocked him too. Mike Zunino's got a lot of power, so this is a dangerous Rays lineup, even though none of them outside of Franco are stars. So this is going to be a difficult series for the Sox. We will recap it for you on Sunday. We'll have a pregame on Sunday. We'll have a postgame on Sunday, and then on Monday we also have a Guardian series starting. So Vinny will be in the studio with us for those 4 games against the Guardians. It should be a fun week next week. We are now off until Sunday. Herb, enjoy your day off on Friday and Saturday at the ballpark. Everyone enjoy your weekend as well. We'll talk to you on Sunday for Game 3 of the Rays and Sox series. Hopefully the Sox are able to weather the storm and pull out some victories on the south side. We will catch up with you. Thank you, everyone, for watching. You can follow Herb Lawrence on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. You can follow Vinnie Duber, who joined us during the show, at Vinnie Duber. You can follow CHGO White Sox on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. Thank you to everybody in the chat. I see Slush Poppy giving us some love. Thank you, Zoe, for jumping in here. KPW always helping us out. Hector Gonzalez, that's a first-time name we saw in here. Blank Name's been in here for multiple games. Those are the only comments I can see right now. But thank you to everybody for helping out. Other Sean was in here as well. So thank you for watching. Thank you for participating. We will be back on Sunday. And thank you to Stephen Nicholas for his great production today on the CHGO White Sox postgame show. We will talk to you on Sunday when the Sox take on the Rays.